my name is Kaylee and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay everybody, happy Saturday. I hope that you guys are all having an amazing day. And I know the posting schedule has been a little bit off, but hopefully I'm gonna be back on track starting today. But other than that, I'm going to bring you guys up close. There we go. Okay, so we are just going to jump straight into today's story time. For those of you who might be new here, I'm going to do my quick usual little rundown. For most of the video, I will be looking in this direction because my mirror's over here and I would like to see what I'm doing. I do two of these story times in a first person point of view, so if you don't like that, then you can leave.
There's the door. There's the door, bitch!
And these story times are sent in by anonymous people. Okay, story time about how I was the other woman. We just love that for me, don't we? Never the main, always the side chick.
Oh shit, that's embarrassing.
Okay, so a little background information. I was 22 years old and a senior in undergrad when this all started. Well, on my 22nd birthday, my brother had posted a picture of me on his story wishing me a happy birthday, and a bunch of his friends saw it. Well, I guess a lot of them thought that I was super hot, of course, duh. And some of them added me on Snapchat, including this one guy who we are going to call Drew. So Drew was in my brother's fraternity, and if I'm being honest, I didn't really know too much about this kid. I don't think I really cared to get to know much about him either. Now, my brother went to a different college than I did, so I didn't really know any of his friends. And I guess this guy Drew was in my brother's fraternity and they were kind of good friends, I guess. But anyways, Drew sees this picture of me and he adds me on Snapchat. And you know, we start talking, the little small talk stuff, you know. And I thought he was super nice, and since he knew my brother, I felt comfortable talking to him over Snapchat. I didn't think that he was like some weirdo or anything. So we chit chat for a couple of weeks, and surprisingly, he wasn't giving off any creepy vibes. And by creepy vibes, I mean the guys that you'll Snapchat for like maybe 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden, they're like, send like you could literally just be like, good morning, how was your night? And they're like, send. But anyways, like I said, he was nice, so him and I just kept talking. And then the one day I was talking to my brother and I was like, oh yeah, I've been talking to your friend Drew. And my brother got super serious and just freaked the out. He was like, I don't want you talking to him. Stop talking to him right now. Unadd him. Never speak to him ever again. Like, he literally yelled at me. And he was like, I want to see you unadd him on Snapchat right now. And I was like, why? He isn't doing anything weird. Like, we're literally just talking over Snapchat. And he's like, no, please do it now. And then he sits there and he watches me unadd Drew off Snapchat. Obviously, I was upset, one, because I was enjoying talking to Drew, and two, I was upset because I just out of nowhere stopped talking to him, so I felt bad. But at the end of the day, that was my brother's friend, and I wanted to respect him because I didn't know the reason why he was so serious about it. And the fact that he was that serious made me think, okay, there's definitely a reason why I need to stop talking to this man. And as well, Drew and I had only been talking for like a month at that point. So I guess it wasn't the worst thing in the world. It wasn't like we were besties for the resties, you know. Anyway, so that was the last time that Drew and I had ever spoken to each other. Anyway, so that was the last time that Drew and I had spoken until now. So fast forward, I had just graduated from undergrad and I decided that I wanted to take a gap year because I wanted to work and make some money, and I didn't decide if I actually wanted to go to law school yet. So I just figured it would be best for me to take a break than make any impulse decisions, and we'll get them later. So during this gap year, I decided to get a job, like I said, and I decided that I did want to go to law school, so I started studying for the LSAT exam to get into law school. Okay, so now we're gonna fast forward a year later. New Year's is coming up, and I didn't really have any plans for New Year's Eve because I was still living at home with my parents, and I wasn't really mingling too much throughout the year while I was doing my shit. So thankfully, my brother invites me to go and party with him and his frat, and my original plans were to literally just sit at home with my parents in the living room and watch the ball drop. So I was like, see y'all bitches, I'll go to the frat house.
Make some noise, y'all. What the fuck?
And by the way, at this time, I'm like literally about to turn 23. So like I said yes, I'll go. And then we drove up to his campus. We got to his frat house. And then Drew wasn't at this party. But if we're being completely honest, I have no recollection of talking to this man. Like, I didn't even really remember what he looked like or his name. Anyway, so while I was there, I met a bunch of my brother's friends, aka his fraternity brothers, and some sorority sisters. It was a really good time though. We drank a lot, and I had never actually been to a frat house before, so let me just tell y'all, it was a blast, and I definitely recommend. 10 out of 10. But yeah, I got along with everybody, and then the next day, everybody was telling my brother, oh yeah, your sister's so cool, like you should invite her up here more often, and I'm like, I know. Anyways, fast forward, so I slept at my brother's apartment, and then the morning after I go home, and as soon as I got home, I got onto Instagram. I followed all of the people that I met from the party, and then a few of them, we started talking here and there, you know. Now fast forward to July, the summer leading into my first year in law school. I guess this is where the story really begins. Okay, so that was a lot of background information. So now let's get into it. Like I said, I had been talking to a bunch of my brother's friends since the New Year's party. And then my brother and his girlfriend and a few of the other people from the frat invited me to go to this music festival that was being hosted in the summer. And it was in the same town as the frat. And it was like this 80s themed rock festival that I guess would always play on their campus on the 4th of July. So I decided to go and make a weekend out of it because one, it sounded super fun, and two, this was my last time to really let loose before I started law school. Anyways, so I get up there and I decide to stay at my brother's apartment, well, his girlfriend's apartment technically, but I stayed with him and her, and we're gonna call my brother's girlfriend Cecilia. Cecilia was honestly my favorite girl out of all the other ones that my brother had dated before. We got along super well. She wasn't weird, which, you know, we always loved that. But yeah, like I said, decided to stay with them, and her and I get ready for the music festival together, and then we head over to my brother's frat. And when we get there, they're playing this game called Die on the front lawn. I'm gonna look that up because I have no idea what that game is. Okay, from what I just saw, it's literally just guys playing with dice on a little ping pong table. If you want to look more into it, be my guest. Anyways, so, you know, there's this group of guys playing the game, and there's this one guy who literally cannot keep his eyes off of me. Like, you know when you can just feel somebody staring into your soul? Yeah, that's exactly what was happening. Like, literally anywhere that I went in the yard, I could feel him staring at me. But not in a creepy way, more of like in a sexy way. Like, he's giving me like sex eyes. Anyways, so, you know, I'm there and I'm drinking a lot. And when I say a lot, I'm like blackout drunk before we even got to the concert. And Cecilia I was blacked out, but she was on a whole nother level. Anyway, so fast forward, we're having fun at the festival, and my brother shows up after work, and as you can imagine, he's miserable because he didn't get to drink. And I'm not gonna lie, when you're the only sober person around a bunch of drunk people who are just like falling all over the place, being super sloppy, it's not fun. Because one, you either want to be on their level, or two, you literally just don't want to be around any of them because they're so effing annoying. I've been on both sides. But yeah, like I said, my brother, super annoyed. And I'm trying to convince him to start drinking. I'm like, hey, like, you know, have my drink, have this drink, you know, trying to get him in the mood. He wasn't having it though. He was super annoyed that Cecilia and I were not listening to him. So he literally left us there. He was our ride, and he left Cecilia and I there while we were like low-key blacked out.
I know I be doing some fucked up things. What I do? But you did a fucked up thing.
So Cecilia, she goes somewhere else. She's like, fuck this, and she just leaves. I could not find her. So now I'm left with a bunch of my brothers, fraternity brothers, that I in reality barely knew. Like, yes, we had partied together, yes, we had talked a little bit here and there, but let's be honest, I was acquaintances with these people, nothing more. But I guess after my brother left, he was like, oh yeah, like, y'all are in charge of babysitting my sister. Like, really? Well, in this group of people that he told to babysit me, one of them just happened to be Drew. Yes, Drew is back in the picture. The one who had been giving me sex eyes the whole time earlier on in the day. So while I'm walking, I fall onto Drew and I'm being so sloppy. I'm like screaming at him. I'm like, oh my God, hey, don't you know my brother? You're my brother's friend. And Drew goes, yeah, I'm really good friends with your brother. So then him and I get to talking, and I mainly hang out with him most of the night. Now, remember, like I said, I'm like coming in and out of consciousness, low-key blacked out. So the next thing that I remember is saying hi to Drew, talking to him. That's the last thing I remember. Next thing I know, concert's over and it's time to go home. And by the way, that was at 4:30 in the afternoon. I finally gained reconsciousness at 10 o'clock at night. So at the end of the night, Drew calls my brother and he's like, yo, what do you want me to do with your sister? And my brother's like huffing and puffing on the phone because he didn't have a good time. I actually found out later that Cecilia drove back to the apartment while she was blackout drunk. She somehow made it there.
We cannot be laughing about this shit right now.
Oh, I don't think that shit's funny at all.
To each their own, I guess. So anyways, you know, like I said, Drew calls my brother and he's like, we're already in bed. Can't she just sleep at your place? So I don't really remember what my brother said after that, but then they go and they're all carrying me to put me in the car, and they drop me in a freaking ditch, literally in a ditch. And then, you know, Drew pulls the car around, they put me in the car, and next thing I know, we're on the way back to the frat house. Why am I sitting here acting like it wasn't a good time? Like, whenever we got back to the house, like, we were blasting music, we were all dancing and stuff, you know. Drew and I were talking because he was also going to law school. And then I go with Drew to take a few of their other friends home, and once we drop all them off, it's just him and I in the car. And that's when he's like, don't you remember me from last year? And I'm like, no, what are you talking about? We've never spoke once in my life. What kind of drugs are you on? And then he's like, yeah, remember, blah, 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 your brother, it was your birthday, and then you unadded me because he told you to. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I'm so sorry about that, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, I just wanted to keep the peace between my brother and I. And then I also was low-key thinking in the back of my head, okay, what is about to happen next? Because my brother did warn me about him. Like I said, that was in the back of my mind though. I added him back on Snapchat. Anyway, so after we are talking, we go and we pick up his girlfriend Marissa, and then we go back to his apartment. And Marissa was actually super sweet. Her and I had stayed up talking for a while. And then the next morning, we all go to breakfast. And when we got to breakfast, everybody was there. My brother, his girlfriend, all the frat brothers. It was a good time. After that, Drew drops me off at Cecilia's apartment. And then Cecilia drives me back home to my parents' house. And Drew and I start talking 24/7, like all day, every day. Now, fast forward to the beginning of August. My best friend Mary and I decided to go up to the frat house and party there for a few days because her dad actually had an apartment up there. So I invite some of the frat guys to go to the bar with us, and then we all go to the bar, we start drinking, and then Mary left with our other mutual friend Jack, and I just hung around with my brother's fraternity brothers, and then I went back to the frat house. And the entire time that I'm there, I am Snapchatting Drew, telling him how much I missed him and how much I wanted to see him. You guys already probably know where this is going. I had never acted on anything before because Drew had a girlfriend, but there was very strong sexual tension between him and I, and it was intriguing, you know? I was curious. Curiosity killed the fucking cat. You should know better. I should have known better. So then I keep Snapchatting him and I'm like, oh my gosh, you should come. Like, we're having so much fun here. It would be so much more fun if you were here though. Keep in mind, I'm super drunk at this point, so I'm sending him a bunch of cringy messages. So Drew shows up at like 2 in the morning. And of course the other guys are like, bro, who invited Drew? I know, guys, it's bad. I know. Anyway, so yeah, Drew's like, oh, I'm gonna take her back to her friend's house. You know, she's drunk, blah, 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 blah. And then as soon as Drew and I get outside, he pulls me behind some bushes and just starts making out with me. Yeah, I know. And then he like stops making out with me and he's like, I really like you. You're the hottest girl I've ever met. you're really cool, you're really funny, you're really smart, and I've liked you since we started talking last year, and whenever your brother said that we couldn't talk anymore, it just really hurt me. And I'm drunk and I'm super down for what's about to go on. Like, I'm here for it, low-key. So, you know, we're attacking each other's faces. And at this point, I was waiting until marriage. And in my head, I was like, not gonna let it go that far. Well, it did. There was a moment in time where I was like, oh, you have a girlfriend? And then he goes, I don't care, I want you. It's always been about you.
Stop the cap.
It's just so cliche. So yeah, him and I did the nasty, and then he's like, oh, I have protection at my place, should we go there? And I was super drunk and I agreed. So we drove back to his house and we did the nasty about like maybe 6 times. Anyway, so the next day I wake up and him and I start talking, and he starts telling me about his childhood, and I thought that things between him and I were getting like pretty deep, you know? So fast forward, all of us go to breakfast, and by all of us, I mean my friends, you know, we all met up. And then later on that day, Drew texted me and he was like, hey, do you want to go hot tubbing? Of course, I say yes, duh. It was super fun, and of course, there was still a ton of sexual tension between us. And he's like literally staring me down while we're in the hot tub. Like, I don't know how nobody else caught on to what was going on, but like he was literally just like, could not keep his eyes off of me. So after that, we go back to the frat house, you know, we all smoke and drink, have fun for a little bit. Drew obviously still staring at me. And then Mary and I, we go home that night. She takes me to my parents' house. Drew and I were still talking. And at this point, our Snapchats have gotten a little bit sexual. You know, like we were low-key sexting. Listen, I'm not proud of it, okay?
You lying? Yeah.
So now I'm actually starting to develop feelings for Drew. Like real feelings. And I wasn't proud of it. Don't worry, I remember that he is a girlfriend. I did bring it up to him a few times. I'm like, hey, like, what about Marissa? And, you know, he's just like, oh, I'm gonna break up with her. I promise, I just need some time. Let's be so for real, y'all. We all know. We all just, we know. We know.
Here we are again. Here we are again.
Anyways, so yeah, he kept telling me that he was gonna break up with her, so I didn't really see a problem in us continuing doing what we were doing because he wasn't gonna be with her anymore. Anyways, so around this time, I am packing and getting ready to go to law school, and all of a sudden, one of the fraternity brothers texts me telling me, hey, it's my 21st birthday this weekend, do you want to come up and party? And of course I can never say no, so I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it. Now I want you to keep in mind, the main reason why I said yes was because I figured I was gonna see Drew. Like, did I give a shit about this kid's birthday? No, I did not. Be so fucking for real. Anyways, so my brother and Cecilia weren't at this party, so I was pretty alone at this party. And Drew wasn't there at first either. Now, Drew was not there at this point, but all the frat brothers and the sorority sisters and everybody who was at this party, we were all going to the local bars. Y'all, my eyebrows are so messy. I want to cry. Back to the story.
Jesus Christ.
So like I say, we're at the bars, and then all of a sudden Drew shows up with Marissa. I mean, it's not like they're dating or anything. Yeah, I know. Shut up. Okay. Anyway, so then this man has the audacity to text me while we are all at the bar saying, hey, Marissa's obviously here with me, so you can't speak to me. As if I didn't already know this. So obviously him texting me that makes me feel like absolute garbage. So after this, I am ignoring the fuck out of him. Like, I'm so pissed off, I'm ready to literally go scream at him and literally just out it to everybody. But I did not, I kept my cool. And the funniest part is, he says, oh, don't talk to me because Marissa's here, right? But then he proceeds to get upset with me that I wasn't talking to him. Why are you acting like a female? Be so for real. Like, guys are always like saying, oh, women, like, you know, they say one thing but then they mean another and they just expect us to read minds. Like, what are you doing? He kept looking at me all sad and just like trying to get my attention. Yeah, he was trying to come up to me the whole night, but as soon as he would walk over to me, I would walk away and go somewhere else. So eventually later on, I go to the bathroom and he Snapchats me and he's like, what's wrong? Why are you ignoring me? And I Snapchat him back and I'm like, did you not tell me to literally not speak to you earlier? Your girlfriend is here and you told me not to talk to you. This sounds like a you problem, buddy, not mine. So then I just didn't talk to him for the rest of the night, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And fast forward, eventually I'm sitting down somewhere and he comes and he sits next to me and he starts talking to me and he's like, oh, like, how long are you gonna be in town for? Da, da, da. And I was like, oh, like, I'm going home tomorrow. Don't worry, I'm going home tomorrow. You don't have to worry about me. And then he was like, why don't you stay in town for a couple more nights? One, I was appalled, and two, I couldn't even stay if I wanted to because I was literally moving the next day. Anyway, so the drive home that night, I felt like such a shitty person because of what I was doing to Marissa, and also for the fact that I believed him whenever he said that he was gonna break up with her. Anyway, so, you know, I moved to where my law school is, and then Drew is still Snapchatting me, but I'm talking to him way less than I was before now because I needed to detach myself. Like, I could not let myself keep having feelings for this man. Also, I was super busy with law school, you know, like studying and just life in general. I didn't hear any updates about him and Marissa. Well, fast forward to October, Drew tells me that his work got moved to a different town that was closer to my school. And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna be staying at my parents until I get my own place, but you know, there's a sauna and a hot tub there, and if you come over, I can make us dinner and we can talk. Y'all can judge me all you want, but I low-key wanted to go, and I did go. Not only that, but I wanted to see if he was broken up with Marissa yet. Like, girl, shut the fuck up! I wanted things to work between him and I really liked him. Like, it's been 2 months. He's had plenty of time to break up with his girlfriend. So like I said, I did go. Like, I literally packed a bag for the weekend and I drove 4.5 hours to go and see him. Ladies, we need to stop putting in the work for these men. You are driving 4.5 hours to go see a man who hasn't even broken up with his girlfriend yet for you. No, 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 no. Yeah, so that happened. And y'all, when I got there, the hot tub wasn't even working. And his idea of making me dinner was making pizza rolls. I don't know about y'all, but I love pizza rolls. Like, was it really that bad? Yes, it was. Anyways, and on the way to his house, he texted me and he was like, oh yeah, by the way, pick up condoms. Oh, guys. No, 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 no. No. But I did. And I'm not gonna lie, since he was like, oh, do that, I thought we were in the clear and I thought that he was broken up with Marissa. Now, why was I so dumb to think this? Because obviously he had no problem with us doing the nasty before, whenever him and Marissa were together. I was not in the right state of mind, if I'm being honest. Anyways, the weekend actually ended up being pretty fun. There was this like boardwalk and we went to the carnival. And I'm gonna be honest, he gave me no reason to think that Marissa was still around. Like, we didn't have to be secretive about anything. So obviously what happens? I end up developing feelings for him again. Anyway, so fast forward, we go back to his house and I walk in the one room and all of a sudden I see a bunch of pictures of him, his family, and Marissa. I'm talking Christmas cards. It was sick. Was what it was. It was disgusting. So then I turned to him and I'm like, are y'all still together? And then he's like, it's complicated. Marissa and I have been together for so long and our families are super close. I didn't want to disappoint my family or her family. And I'm just sitting there in shock and I'm like, what the actual fuck? So I was super pissed off, but he kept apologizing and what do you know? I forgave him. Not really, but like I wanted to make the best out of the little bit of time that we had left together. So anyways, my last day, we went to breakfast and then, you know, I get in the car, he kisses me goodbye, and the whole way home, I'm literally listening to Taylor Swift and I am bawling my eyes out. yeah, for 4 hours straight, I was listening to, yeah, I didn't even know I had that much crying in me. Anyway, so after this, I obviously stopped talking to him for a while. And then fast forward to Christmas break. My semester of law school is over now. New Year's rolls around and I had actually been dating this guy who we're gonna call James. James and I really didn't see each other too much because we were both so busy with school. So I invited him to the New Year's party at the old frats, you know, the one at my brother's college. And James knew about the whole Drew situation, so I was really hoping that Drew and Marissa weren't gonna be at this New Year's party. But of course they were, and Marissa runs up to me and she's like, oh my gosh, how are you? I haven't seen you in so long. I've missed you. And I literally felt so terrible. But that's besides the point. Everything is already done with. What can we do about it now? So then I'm sitting at the bar and Drew comes over to me and I'm like, what the actual fuck do you want? And then he goes and he's like, you should sneak over to see me tonight. And I'm like, Marissa's literally right there. What are you doing? And he's like, I don't care. I miss you and I want to see you. And I'm just like, don't do this. Don't do it. Yeah, obviously I didn't meet up with him. After this, I actually unadded him on all socials because I was kind of over the whole situation. And then he starts trying to re-add me on all of my socials. So I decided to add him back and give him an explanation for why I am blocking him. Does it make sense? Not really, but you know, whatever. So then I'm like, listen, for some reason, dude, I really like you, but I can't deal with this whole Marissa situation. It's taking a toll on my mental health and I need to get over you. And then he goes, I really like you too. And I'm like, but you're with Marissa. And he's like, can we please just talk? So guess who let him back into her life again? Me. I did. I know. And the dumb bitch award goes to me every time. I have like 90 awards at this point. The amount of times I let this man back into my life. Anyways, if you guys could give me some advice on what to do in this situation, that would really be helpful. I think we already know what my advice to you is going to be. You need to leave him.
Yeah, all right. I don't even know why I asked that. I knew you didn't know.
He's not gonna leave his girlfriend for you, and if he really wanted you that bad, he would have already been left her. Okay, everybody, that is the end of today's story time. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, maybe hit the subscribe button down below, and if you want to know whenever I post my next video, make sure to click that bell. And if you guys want to send in your anonymous story time, or you want to know how to send in your anonymous story time, make sure to click the links down below in the description. Other than that, I will see you guys next week with a new story time.